As of 2013, the pet food industry was dominated by only 5 multi-conglomerate companies. Yet when a consumer walks into a store, it's easy to assume that there is a vast array of choices for their dog or cat, and the ability to choose that one perfect food. But just how different are these choices? And what's really going on inside of those bags? Is what's inside really as healthy as the shiny outside labeling would have you believe?
My name is Karen Becker, and I'm an integrative veterinarian here in Bourbonnais, Illinois. This is a commercially available raw food diet. This is lamb. I'm also going to give the boys an egg. Great source of protein. Is it feeding time, Bernard? And that's dinner. Very exciting. Okay, Ada. What time is it? So there's a problem in the pet food industry, and most pet owners aren't aware that there's a problem. And unless you have an interest in digging deeper and finding out what those issues are, you can go through your whole life feeding the exact same food, assuming what you're doing is healthful for your pet. And once you start digging, the evidence becomes overwhelming that the industry has significant issues.
The human-animal relationship is deeply embedded in our society. It is estimated that 80 million dogs are in the United States, with 96 million cats. Americans alone spend an estimated $60 billion on pet expenses every year, and that number is growing exponentially. It's always a first thought to buy something your pet will like, something that will make them happy and live a healthy life. We give them exercise, clean water, and lots of love. We've always purchased food from a grocery store or a pet food store that provided convenience, the promise of nutrition, and familiarity with the brand.
A very important part of this champion's diet is meat. That's why we feed him Friskies.
It's a complete diet in just the right amount. Very convenient.
The industry at large survived for nearly 100 years without a single thought from consumers as to what was going into the pet foods. That all changed in 2007 when a toxic ingredient made its way into pet foods, killing thousands of pets nationwide.
Melamine is used as a fertilizer in Asia and also has several industrial commercial uses, including a component of kitchen utensils and plates. The association between melamine in the kidneys and urine of cats that died and the melamine that was in the food they consumed is undeniable. Additionally, melamine is an ingredient that should not be in pet food at any level.
Following the 2007 recall, one central question began to resonate amongst consumers. What are dogs and cats actually supposed to eat?
It's confusing because the pet food industry is telling us what to feed our pets, really more based on what they want to sell us than what's necessarily good for the pet.
She is Oprah Winfrey's veterinarian and now an author, and her new book is called The Royal Treatment. Please welcome Dr. Barbara Royal. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here. So let me ask you this. What are the things that we're giving them that we shouldn't, and then what should we be giving them that we aren't?
So no corn, no wheat, no soy.
After many years of R&D, we have found that corn is still the best available source of carbohydrates when processed and refined properly.
Those are the things that cause overweight, diabetes, arthritis, chronic skin infections, allergies, things like that. That's the precursor for a lot of that. If you're feeding poor nutrition and they're eating a lot of those things that mess with the body, they just don't stay healthy.
Well, let me ask you this, doctor. Are those the things that you find in dog food, or you're talking to people who are giving table food to them?
No, it's in dog food. During the war, there was a moratorium on using the metal cans for canned food. So they said you can't use metal cans for dog food anymore. You have to use that for ammunition. So somebody said we need to make the dog food something we could put in a paper bag. And that's how they did it. And nobody thought at that time that making a kibble, and eventually the way that we process it now, could ever be a health detriment to the dog. Now, because of the way that the world is, corn and wheat have become so subsidized and so cheap. It's a super cheap way to make a food for somebody who can't say no.
That is just too snug. She needs to get out of her diet, change her food, and then she can do it. Just get a plain.
There's definitely an epidemic of problems now in animals that I don't think we've seen anything like it in history. Every animal that comes in to see me, they'll say, oh, they're basically healthy, but the list of problems is immense. So it's not that they're healthy, they're actually suffering from many, many maladies. A lot of the same maladies that we see in people. We have animals that have, diabetes and arthritis. They have autoimmune disorders. They've got allergies. And part of the reason for that is because we are actually creating these problems. It's a huge epidemic of problems. All of them, I believe, can be linked to a very simple problem of diet. I would say I rarely get home before 8. There are days when I stop appointments at 3, just so I might make it home by 6. I would like to not work this late. I would like to not work this hard. I don't see any way around it right now. I know my family would like me home more. My daughter said to me, Mommy, when you're done writing this book and doing this conference, could you not do another one?
They do not hurt each other ever. They've been doing this for 12 years. Do you look 12 years old? No, you don't look 12 years old. Do you know why you don't look 12 years old? Because your parents feed you excellent food. Look next. Yes, it's your dinner time? It's supper time? And then eventually, I figure out my own dinner. You put this down and they're just like arrows just right on it. Absolutely the best thing I can imagine. They're so excited about eating. And it's gone. There's nothing better than making your animals happy. I gotta say, look how happy they are. They're both like, yes, thank you. You're feeding me the thing I love, and they're so happy. And do I worry about them eating raw food and then licking me? No, I do not. Because the fact is, there aren't any pathogens in that raw food. But they're careful with it. I think raw food is weird to a lot of people. When I first mention it to people, they sort of say, raw food? Do I have to feed raw food to make my dog healthy? Like, are you crazy? I'm like, well, no, you don't have to. It'll make a difference. It'll make a huge difference. When we had so much crazy processed food, and then all of a sudden Whole Foods came around and said, we're going to offer fresh food. It's going to cost a little more, but you're going to like it. And everyone said, no one's ever going to do that. No one's ever going to spend so much more money on food than, and it's like, guess what? Yes, they will. Yes, we will. Because we know, we can feel it. I can feel it. And now I think we've come to the point of saying, okay, we know they do care. It does make a difference. And the species-appropriate diet is getting back to what it was before we started, leaving the canned foods and stuff.